While most commonly recognized for their role in photosynthesis, leaves in angiosperms exhibit an extraordinary array of structural modifications that enable the plants to adapt and thrive in diverse environments. These evolutionary adaptations allow the leaves to perform specialized function far beyond their primary task of energy production and gas exchange, addressing the critical needs such as storage of resources, defense against herbivores, mechanical support for climbing, and even the capture of prey for supplementary nutrition, showcasing the remarkable versatility of plant morphology. In this episode, let us try to explore the different types of leaf modifications found in angiosperms. Leaf modifications in the angiosperms are typically classified based on the specialized function they perform, which deviates from the primary role of photosynthesis, transpiration, and gas exchange. This functional classification helps in understanding the adaptive significance of these diverse structures. Here is the list. For support, the tendrils help the weak stemmed plants to climb. These include the modification of whole leaf, upper leaflet modification, leaf tip modification, petiole modification, and stipule modification. Hooks also help in helping the plant. The terminal leaflets are modified to hook in Bignonia, that is cat's claw creeper. For protection or defense, spines are the sharp pointed structure that protect the plant from grazing animals and reduce water loss through transpiration. This includes the modification of whole leaf, leaf apex, leaf margin, stipules. For storage, the storage leaves are the succulent leaves. These leaves become thick and fleshy to store water, mucilage, or food, particularly common in xerophytic plants. The examples are aloe vera, agave, etc. For nutrient acquisition, the insect catching leaves are the traps found in carnivorous plants. These leaves are modified to trap and digest the insects to obtain nutrients. These includes the pitcher leaves, snap traps, fly traps, and bladder traps. In phyllodes, the petiole or the rachis become flattened, green, and leaf-like, performing the photosynthesis, while the true leaf blade is reduced or falls off early. Example is Australian Acacia parkinsonia. Scaly leaves are typically thin, dry, membranous, and stalkless, often brownish or colorless. Their main function is to protect the axillary buds. In some cases, they can be thick, fleshy for food and water storage, as seen in onion. The dry, scaly leaves are found in casuarina, asparagus, and rhizomes of ginger. The reproductive leaves develop adventitious buds along their margins or surface which can detach and grow into new plant, facilitating vegetative propagation. Examples are bryophyllum, begonia, etc. The bracts of the modified leaves, often brightly colored, found at the base of the flower or inflorescence. Their primary function is to attract pollinators, often mimicking the petals. Examples are bougainvilleas and poinsettia. A leaf tendril is a slender thread-like coiled structure that is modified part of the leaf. They are highly sensitive to touch and respond by coiling around any support they meet. They often exhibit thigmotropism. The differential growth causes the tendril to bend and coil around an object. Once attached, they can develop strong mechanical tissue, that is the sclerenchyma, to firmly anchor the plant. While some are modified entire leaves, others are modified leaflets, petioles, or the stipules. Some of the examples are the entire leaf is modified into a tendril in wild pea. Only some or all the leaflets of a compound leaf are modified into tendrils in common pea, that is Pisum sativum, and pea, that is Lathyrus odoratus. The petiole itself becomes elongated and tendrilar in Nepenthes, which connects the pitcher to the stem. The very tip of apex the leaf elongates and coils to form a tendril in Gloriosa superba, that is glory lily. The stipules are the small appendages at the base of the petiole or modified into tendrils in smilax. Leaf hooks are the specialized plant structures that are modified leaves or parts of leaves, adapted to form sharp, curved, or pointed projections. These adaptations primarily serve two crucial functions. One is climbing and defense, that is, plants possessing leaf hooks help them to ascend support such as other plants, rocks, allowing them to reach optimal light condition in competitive environments. Beyond providing mechanical support for upward growth, leaf hooks also act as deterrent against the herbivores, protecting the plant from predation. The example is Bignonea anguiscata. Here, each leaf is compound, usually with two leaflets and the ends in the distinctive three-pronged claw-like structure that strongly resembles a cat's paw. With retracting claws, these are modified terminal leaflets. The leaf spines are essentially the leaves that have been wholly or partially transformed into sharp defensive structures. This modification can involve the entire leaf, the petiole, leaflets, or the stipules. Unlike prickles, spines contain vascular bundles that is xylem and phloem, as they are derived from the leaf tissue. Spines often occupy the same position as the leaves, sometimes with a bud in their axils. Many spines become dead at maturity and are full of fibers, losing their photosynthetic capability. The functions of the leaf spines includes the defense against the herbivores. The sharp, rigid nature of the spines discourages the animals from consuming the plant, protecting it from grazing. Converting the broad photosynthesizing leaves into small pointed spines significantly reduces the surface area exposed to the sun and wind. This minimizes the water loss through transpiration. In some cacti, spines can help shade the plant's stem, protecting it from intense sunlight and extreme temperatures. They can also provide insulation in cooler conditions. Spines can sometimes help in collecting condensed water vapor during cooler nights, which then drips down to the plant's roots. The examples are the cactus. The entire leaves are often transformed into the spines growing from the specialized structures called areoles. Example is Opuntia. Many Berberis species have spines that are modified leaves or the leaf parts, often occurring in clusters. In agave, have spiny leaf or margin or tips. In Fucaria, the spines of these plants develop from the leaf petioles. In some Acacia species have spines that are the modified leaf stipules. The storage leaves are a fascinating example of how the plants modify their structures to adapt to challenging environments or to prepare for the periods of dormancy and regrowth. The main purpose of the storage leaves is to store water, food like carbohydrates, and nutrients. The fleshy and thick leaves will accommodate large amount of stored substances. These leaves are typically much thicker and fleshier than photosynthetic leaves. The succulent leaves store water. They have specialized parenchyma cells with a large vacuole that can swell significantly to hold water. For water storing leaves, a reduced surface area helps to minimize the water loss through transpiration. Examples for succulent leaves, aloe vera. Here, the thick fleshy leaves are the excellent water reservoirs, allowing them to survive long periods without rain. The waxy cuticle on their surface further reduces the water loss. For the scaly leaves of the bulb like onion or garlic, the fleshy layers of an onion or the garlic bulb are actually modified leaves that are packed with stored carbohydrates. These reserves fuel the plant's growth when it emerges in the next season. The outer papery skin of an onion is also a modified scale leaf, but its function is more protective, that is, preventing desiccation and physical damage. Carnivorous leaves are among the most spectacular and specialized leaf modifications found in the plant kingdom. These leaves have evolved sophisticated mechanisms to trap and digest small animals, primarily. A phyllodes is a specific type of leaf modification where the petiole or the rachis of a compound leaf becomes flattened and widened, taking on the appearance and primary function of a leaf. It is characterized by the leaf-like appearance. It becomes broad, flattened, and often green, resembling a true leaf blade. It is photosynthetic in function. It has reduced leaf surface area. They have thicker cuticle, few number of stomata. The phyllodes are often more persistent than the typical leaves. The examples are the most well-known example of the plant with the phyllodes are found in the genus Australian Acacia. Phyllodes, when you see the leaf on the trees, it is very often a phyllodes. Interestingly, acacia seedlings often start with a typical bipinnately compound true leaves. As the plant matures, these true leaves are gradually replaced by phyllodes. You can sometimes see a transition where your young phyllodes still bears a small reduced true leaf at its tip. Acacia phyllodes come in wide range of shapes from very narrow and needle-like to broad and ovate, mimicking the diversity of the true leaf forms. Some angiosperms also exhibit asexual or vegetative reproduction through modified leaves. In these cases, the leaves themselves can give rise to new genetically identical plants. This is a form of vegetative propagation. The vegetative propagation or asexual reproduction is to survive in the challenging environment and to ensure the genetic continuity and recover from damage. The characteristic features of the reproductive leaves are the presence of meristematic tissue. The specific regions of the leaf retain meristematic activity, that is, undifferentiated cells capable of division and differentiation, allowing them to form roots, stems, and new leaves. Small plantlets, often called the epiphyllous buds or adventitious plantlets, develop directly on the leaf surface, margin, or the tip. Often the plantlets are designed to detach easily from the parent leaf once they are mature enough to establish themselves independently. The parent leaf provides initial nutrients and water to the developing plantlets. The examples are bryophyllum. Here, the fleshy leaves have notches along their margins in which adventitious plantlets or epiphyllous buds form. These plantlets can develop roots while still attached to the parent leaf. When they mature, they easily detach and fall to the ground where they readily root and grow into new plants. In begonia, it is propagated from the leaf cuttings. New plantlets arise from the pieces of the leaf blade, that is, vein sections, placed on the moist substrate. A bract is a modified or specialized leaf that is associated with the reproductive structure such as flower, a flower cluster, or inflorescence. Bracts are typically different from regular foliage leaves with respect to size, shape, color, or texture. They are usually substant or positioned beneath or at the base of the flower or inflorescence. They can be leafy, scale-like, papery, or petal-like. They can be green but often brightly colored like red, pink, white, yellow, etc. Often smaller than the typical foliage leaves but can sometimes be very large and showy. The examples are the petaloid bracts found in Poinsettia pulcherrima. The red, pink, or white structures are actually the modified bracts. The actual flowers are small. The cyathea are located in the center. In bougainvillea, the showy, papery, brightly colored structures are bracts that surround the small, white, tubular true flowers. A spathe is a large, often leaf-like or hood-like bract that completely or partially encloses an entire inflorescence, particularly a spadix, a fleshy spike of flowers, as in case of Antirrhinum and Colocasia. Involucral bracts are involucre is a whorl of bracts that surround the base of an entire inflorescence as in sunflower. The green overlapping scale-like structures that form cup around the base of the entire flower head are the involucral bracts. The leafy or the foliaceous bracts are found in Adathoda zeylanica and Acacia indica, which resemble normal foliage leaves, often green and relatively unspecialized in appearance, but still associated with the flowers. In grasses, the flowers or the florets and the spikelets groups of the florets are subtended and enclosed by highly modified papery membranous bracts like glumes, lemma, and palea. The leaves, while primarily recognized as the sites of photosynthesis, exhibit an astonishing range of modifications that allow angiosperms to thrive in diverse and often challenging environments. These specialized structures are evolutionary adaptations, where the basic leaf morphology is altered to perform the functions of critical or survival. Beyond just capturing sunlight and gas exchange, from deterring herbivores to storing vital resources, aiding in climbing, or even capturing prey, leaf modification showcase the remarkable plasticity and adaptability of the plant structures. These adaptations manifest in various forms. The sharp spines offer protection, while the thin scales guard the delicate buds. For support, the entire leaves or the parts are transformed into coiling tendrils. Resources storage is achieved through the thick fleshy leaves, which hold water or food. In more dramatic adaptations, carnivorous leaves are specialized to trap and digest the insects for supplementary nutrients. Furthermore, flattened phyllodes, modified petioles, take over the photosynthetic function when the true leaves are reduced, and the reproductive leaves facilitate asexual propagation, demonstrating the multifaceted roles leaves can play in the plant's ecological success.